As humans, being honest with ourselves about our own flaws is incredibly difficult. Commonly, it's far easier to identify other people's flawed thinking than our own. Nevertheless, to be a successful investor requires you to commit to a sufficient degree of self-awareness. This is because your success as an investor will, to a large extent, be determined by the patterns of thinking that you engage in. Cognitive biases represent ways of perceiving the world that may not reflect reality. As an investor, it is important for you to be aware of how they can function to distort reality. Moreover, recognizing their existence can enable you to become wiser, allowing you to learn more about how you think and why you think in particular ways. There are numerous cognitive biases that affect investors. However, in this video, we'll be exploring authority bias. Before we begin, let me remind you that I have created many other cognitive biases videos for you to learn from and develop as an investor. Okay, now on to authority bias. As an investor, it's important for you to understand that human beings naturally possess an inclination towards something known as authority bias. Authority bias refers to the tendency for people to assign special privilege and respect to the decision-making of individuals that they deem to be in a position of authority. Authority bias compels many investors to outsource their investments to the representatives of financial services companies. The Sloth investor has spent over a decade residing and working outside of his native country of the United Kingdom. During that time, Mr. Sloth has been shocked by the countless people he's spoken to who have been captivated by slick-suited, jargon-filled financial specialists, only to be disappointed by them later. It's perhaps not difficult to see how this could happen. After all, let's take a look at some of the common features of such financial professionals. These are features that can often bewitch and beguile new investors. A smart suit, a briefcase, the utterance of a significant amount of jargon. The final point, the deliberately unclear vocabulary that they use, is especially important as it convinces many investors that the field of investing is too complex, too full of jargon for them to comprehend. This is, of course, exactly what these supposed financial professionals want individual investors to think. Impression amplifiers. A smart suit, a briefcase, financial jargon, the sloth investor refers to these elements as impression amplifiers. You could say that the use of such elements on the part of a financial professional is akin to a peacock spreading its feathers, flexing its prowess. Therefore, it's easy to see how these elements, or impression amplifiers, as I like to call them, could cause a new investor to part with their hard-earned money. These impression amplifiers function as agents of persuasion. Again, this is authority bias at work. Quite simply, we engender our trust in these so-called authority figures. Unfortunately, as you might expect by now, many financial professionals don't necessarily have your best interests in mind. This is because the products that are often recommended by professionals are usually high-fee, actively managed, and poor-performing. Despite their consistent, bold, potent claims of outperformance, financial professionals are commonly undeserving of the claim of professional. In an article entitled The Loser's Game, Charles D. Ellis states, "The investment management business, it should be a profession, but is not, is built upon a simple and basic belief. Professional money managers can beat the market. That premise appears to be false. Despite the evidence in favor of a passive approach to investing, many investors fall prey to the slick, sharp-talking appeal of financial professionals who customarily advocate investing in high-fee, actively managed funds." Writing in the book Millionaire Expat: How to Build Wealth Living Overseas, author Andrew Hallam states, "Investing with actively managed funds is like walking up a downward-heading escalator. Those doing so fight more than gravity." Hallam refers to the financial professionals that advocate such funds as snakes in suits. Okay, let's finish up with a quote from Warren Buffett, arguably the world's most famous investor. This is what Buffett had to say on the financial management industry during Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting in 2006. "If your wife is going to have a baby, you're going to be better off if you call an obstetrician than if you do it yourself. And if your plumbing pipes are clogged, you're probably better off calling a plumber. Most professions have value added to them above what the layman can accomplish themselves. In aggregate, the investment profession does not do that. So you have a group of people making, I put the estimate as $140 billion a year, that in aggregate are and can only accomplish what somebody can do in 10 minutes a year by themselves. So, there you have it, a devastating critique of the investment profession from Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, the world's most famous investor. If you're a beginner investor, please make sure that you don't fall prey to the temptations of authority bias. To keep up to date with the latest content from the Sloth Investor, whether this be my podcast or other video content, please remember to subscribe to this channel.